My name is Bart Veldhuizen. Yeah. Okay. My name is Bart Veldhuizen. I work for Shapeways. I'm one of their community managers, and I focus on Europe, and that's why I was invited to talk here today. We are more on the producing side of things, and today I'd like to tell you a little bit about the state of the technology, about what we do, and also look ahead and see what is changing for designers and consumers. And we have a lot of examples for that, so I'm going through a lot of sheets, but it's mainly pictures, so don't worry about it. Before I start, I'd like to show you a short video. As we are a community-oriented company, we invited some of our key designers to appear in a video, and I'm always proud to show that, so here we go.
As humans, we've always strived to create, to build something that will solve a problem or meet one of our needs.
How would you feel if you could hold some of your designs in your hand and they went like, that's impossible? And so, well, let's assume it is possible.
I'm not a designer, but now that I'm seeing the possibilities of this technology, you start to see the world differently and you start to reimagine the objects around you.
People are taking the power of creation into their own hands.
Boom, open up your little skull, pull out your idea and create it. Like, that's what Shapeways does in a nutshell.
3D printing is a way of making things element by element additively. The things that we're designing, you can't make any other way.
I can't make objects bigger, smaller, stranger. There's no limit to the variation you can apply.
I suddenly realized how much I was restrained by a lot of the technologies that were around before.
When something new comes to this home, she asks, have you bought it or have you made it?
If you look around us, we can buy any product we need to do whatever we want. What's missing, however, is our personal input into those products.
We have an idea, and then in the mail, the idea comes sort of as an object, and that's never existed before.
As a designer, you can concentrate on making the best object, the best product that you can, and Shapeways does the rest.
So we can make one of something and test it out. And all of this doesn't make any difference because there's no tooling, there's no molding.
There's no investment for a designer. It means also you can innovate faster. There's no penalty for innovation.
This gives rise to a whole new way of solving problems.
It's mind-blowing to think that we can build something today that was literally impossible yesterday.
So those were some of the people that work with us worldwide, and they are successful, and I want to share their story with you today as well. But first a little bit about Shapeways, what we are and what we do. We're a web service. We're an e-commerce company that produces designs for you. You send us a file, we print it for you, we ship it back, and we do other things as well. I'll come to that. We started off with Philips Electronics in the Netherlands about 5 years ago now, and after a year and a half we reached a point where Philips had to decide if we wanted to keep on working in Philips or not. And they didn't really know what to do with us, because Philips is really good at selling 20 million coffee makers, but they are not really good at selling 20 million unique objects to people. So they asked us to go out and find venture capital, and we did. We found two companies, Index Ventures and Union Square Capital from London and New York. And they also invested in companies like Skype, Twitter, Foursquare, and Zynga, the game platform. And with their help, we were able to open offices in New York as well. And we now have a presence in Eindhoven still, where we started. We do production in Eindhoven. We have offices in New York. We have production in New York. And we even have one small office in Seattle, where there's part of our software development. So when we started, we had this vision of, we're in a world where you have great products, great mass products. And mass production is really nice because you have high quality, low cost, you can make good stuff with it. But it's boring. Everyone is the same. So even with things like an iPad or an iPhone, what you see is that people tweak their stuff. They put on a wallpaper, they put on decals, they pimp their rides, or they even change their bike to stay a bit closer to home here, I think. And we used to be really good at that. When, like 100 years ago, if you needed something, you could talk to someone and have it made. You could design it. You could talk to the maker and have it made your way. But we lost that in the transition to mass production. And one way of going back to that, of course, is with the 3D printer. With the 3D printer, you can make every object unique. The printer doesn't care what it makes. It can be all different. Now, the thing with 3D printers was that when we started, it was still a very expensive technology. It was called rapid prototyping. They used to make rather ugly plastic materials where you could see all the stepping lines inside. And we wanted to do better than that, and we wanted to do cheaper than that. And we figured out that by using the printer with a lot of people at the same time, you could actually do it. You could make it more economical, and you could drive the price down. And so far, we've been able to drive it down by about a factor of 5. So it has become rather affordable. It's not the same price as mass production, but then again, you can order just one of your objects if you want. Quality has gone up a lot. These are our test objects. For some reason, we stayed with a bunny character. And every time we got a new printer, we would have it print the bunny, so we could compare it together. So after a while, the entire office was filled with bunnies everywhere, like wooden bunnies, concrete bunnies, steel bunnies, all small bunnies, large bunnies. I guess that's what bunnies do, right? But it's just to illustrate, it's not just plain plastic anymore. And yes, we still do have plastic. Like this is one of our most popular materials. It's nylon, and nylon allows you to print really interesting structures like the strand-based. You saw it in the introduction video as well. This is based on the art installation by Theo Jansen and Bo and Tim. Are you here, by the way? No? 2 Dutch designers, they created a toy version out of it, and they're selling it through our website. And the great thing is that you can see this one consists of 2 parts. It has a grey bottom part and a white part at the top. The part at the bottom has 75 moving objects, and it's all printed at once, so there's no assembly required afterwards. And it actually works. And the reason we didn't print the gears is that gears need to touch, and it would fuse in our printer. So that's why we put them on as an add-on. This is very popular, and it's people use it for all kinds of stuff, also for like bracelets and whatever. Some examples here, stuff on the breakfast table, synthetic digital cloth. I'm not sure what this is, computer parts, I guess. Yeah. We have materials that are very high resolution, that are very popular in the miniature world. And here you can see there's a needle, and the diameter of the, what do you call it, of the third there is about 0.1 millimeter. That's how fine we can print with that. It's insane. It's very fragile, of course, so we have to be very careful with producing it. Now to the more interesting materials, we can do ceramics in a range of colors as well. And everyone always asks, how do you print that? Well, the thing is, you don't really print ceramics. What you do is you 3D print earthenware, and then you fire it, and then you apply the glazing manually, and you fire it again. And you will find that with most of these materials, there's a lot of manual work involved. So it's not one magical printer that creates everything, but it's a printer that creates the first step, and then you post-process and finish it. But we do the finishing for you. So if you want to have ceramics, if you want to have them black or blue or green, whatever, we can do that for you. And that's great, because I'm not someone who can make stuff with his hands, but I can think of objects, and I can make it on my computer, and now I can make my own coffee cup if I want to. So for me, that's awesome, yeah. We also do it with steel. Again, a lot of post-processing involved. This guy thought it was a great idea to have a bottle opener on his bike. And well, guess what? You can do it. And this is like $25 worth of steel that you have there. We can 3D print silver, as you know, you just saw it. So people can design their own things. And keep this one here in mind. I'll come back to that later. So to give you an idea, we have over 200,000 users now, so the stuff that comes out of our printer is mind-blowing. It's like we had no idea what people would actually make when we started this company, and it's crazy. People make jewelry, they make toys, they make robot parts, they make replacement parts for their old cars, clocks, iPod stuff. Minecraft is huge. You can actually 3D print straight from your Minecraft game, so if you have kids, don't let them find out about this, they want to have it. Miniature trains, dinosaurs. Trains is big as well. Like the whole miniature market is crazy. And so what you find is, without having any idea of what we're getting into, you find all these like niche markets that have very specialist needs for sometimes very small things, but it really enables them to make what they need and expand from that. So to go through it very quickly, how it works is you have to supply your own design. You upload it to our site, and we do a very quick check on if we can actually make it or not. Basically, will it fit into our printer? That's the check that we do there. You get a price quote and you can order it, and then we'll have one of our facilities or one of our partners produce it. We don't produce everything ourselves, like stuff like silver, ceramics, and steel. It's complex. You have to know what you're doing, and we don't. I mean, we don't know how to make steel, but other people do, and they know it very well. So we outsource it to them. But in the end, it all comes back to us, and we ship it to you in a box. So about 2 or 3 weeks later, you have your own objects in your house. Now, this is only one of the scenarios. If you're a designer, it's great. You can make your own stuff, you can order it, and you have your object. If you're my mother, it's not so great, because she has no idea how to 3D design. So what we do is we allow all these designers to open their own shop on our website. You can just sell it. You know that, I don't know, this iPhone case maybe costs €5 to print, and you can sell it for 10. And every time we sell it, you just get money for that. And there's a fair number of people who make a living this way. Of course, you have to be really clever in marketing your idea. That's not something we do for you. And people have to be able to find the object on our website. We have 500,000 designs there right now. So yeah, you have to create some interest for it. Now, just buying something from a catalog isn't really all that inspiring. So we're trying to get people to have some influence over the design as well. And these are some simple scenarios, like we have cufflink creators, to stay on the topic. So what you can do is we have a very simple form where you select the shape and the initials and the font type, for example. And someone will actually create these cufflinks for you, and we have them printed and sent them to you. Now, this is something my mother can do. The other one I just mentioned when we were looking at the silver, like keep this one in mind, there was a flat design, right? And this is what we call a creator or an app, really, on our website, where you can upload a black and white image and it will give it like 3-dimensional shape, and you can print it. So now, if you know how to use a pencil, you can actually make a silver necklace if you want to. Yeah, it's not identical, but it's, it works for the story, so yeah. Now, these are very simple. You can just set this up. You can put a product in your shop, and you say, well, whenever someone buys it, I want them to see this form. And they fill out the form. They can upload a picture, enter text, or do whatever. And actually what happens then is when they buy it, we send you an email with a job description. You change it in your 3D app, and you upload it back to the website. So while it seems like it's all automated, there's actually someone on the other side of the world changing the design for you and sending it back to the website. Some people are more clever than that. They create interactive installations. So you have websites where you can grow jewelry. This is, all right, I'm done with it. And you can define your own shape, and of course it stays within like the template of the object there. You only have limited freedom, so it is always the design that was imagined by the creator. Here's another one. This is a very simple app that allows you to make little color puppets, and this is what they look like when they're printed. So it becomes much more playful that way. And we have lots of people doing stuff like that. So some of them, they make iPhone cases based on sound. You can create your own like cups and bottles, Minecraft exports. Here's the one that I just showed. All kinds of stuff, pictures, jewelry. This is just a selection of what we do. And it's really interesting to see that people are starting to build on that platform that we provide. And that ties in with the openness of systems. We're not completely open, we're not open content or open source, but we do have an open system. So you can write software and send data to our website and have it printed. And that's very interesting. Also, if you're a game designer, for example, maybe you can create your own avatar or your own racing car, and people can actually buy that model and have it. And game designers love that. Sorry? It depends on the materials. So some of the materials, like nylon and steel, can go up to like 80 centimeters by 70 by 70. But for other materials, it's much smaller. So, is there anything specific that you need? Or? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. There's another thing, and that's we charge by the amount of material that you use. So the more material, or the heavier, really, the more expensive it gets. And volumes have this way of blowing up. When you make it twice as big, it's 8 times more expensive. 3 times as big, it's 27 times more expensive. So really big stuff is also really, really expensive. Yeah. Even though you can make stuff like this for only 10 or 20 euros. But there are tricks to make it cheaper, like hollowing it out, using less material, etc. But okay, well, I can explain more about that later. Yeah. Now, what happens for you if you're a designer, if you just graduated, or you have an idea, or in your case, you want to have your cufflinks printed? In the traditional market, it meant having to find a manufacturer and invest in molds and setting up a production line. But with 3D printing, you don't have that anymore. You can make a one-off product. And you can have a product on the market very quickly. And we say hours, but to be honest, I always say, well, if you want to sell something, you have to test it, and you have to make good product photography, of course, so people actually know what they're getting. But in theory, you can do it. And there was one guy, after the launch of the first iPad, he had an iPad cover on our website within 5 hours. So he bought it, he measured it, and he put it in the shop, and hoped it would fit, basically. So it's... But even if you have that product on the market, you can keep improving it with every order. Every time a customer buys it, you can have an improved version. So you do not have to get rid of stock first, like sell 10,000 of your old model before you can start producing the new one. You can do it immediately. And in this case, this object was innovated around about 9 times within a year, making it fit better, making it more effective all the time. Yeah, like I told you, don't have to invest a lot of money. You can just produce whatever you want, so it's very accessible. And we do have quite a number of people who make a living out of this, or who see this as the first step towards being their own company. And another trend that we see is that manufacturers are actually looking at platforms like ours, and they're picking out products that they think are viable, or that have been proven to be viable. For example, in the Rubik's Cube market, it's another one of those niches. We have some designers who make really complicated and intricate designs, and they often get they're offered contracts by toy manufacturers. So for them, it's a great way to start experimenting with this market without investing anything, and it has become their career even. This one is a bit outdated, but to give you an idea of what we do, about half a year ago, we had sold over 1 million objects. We had 6,000 shops. This is now 7,000. And we have over 220,000 community members right now who produce stuff. We just opened our facility in New York, which has space for 50 industrial-sized printers, the big American fridge-sized things. And we should be able to ramp up to produce over 5 million objects a year there. So 3D printing is really hot. Our biggest challenge is figuring out how to make it accessible for everyone, including my mother, and how to keep delivering great products and great materials. I have to tell you this as well. We started a campaign today. For the next 3 days, we have 50% off. So if you want to buy something, there you go. So, all right, thank you.